everybody, it's me, John Ward, and welcome back to another Reviews After Midnight. And this is going to be the second part of the double feature of Scream and The Barn of the Naked Dead. So that wraps it up. Bye. Thanks, everybody. Bye. A few things before we get into the review. So I didn't really talk about what's on this. And what we got are basically like the theatrical trailer for Scream. And then there's for The Barn of the Naked Dead, there's audio commentary with Bird Holland and Douglas White. You also get a featurette called Barn Again, Return to the Terror Circus, because that's what it was originally called, Terror Circus. And the credit in the film is not Barn of the Living Dead, Barn of the Living Dead, Barn of the Naked Dead, but it's actually in the beginning credits, it does say Terror Circus. I think Barn of the Naked Dead is better because there is a barn, there are naked people, and there are dead people. So I think this is a much better title. You also get a new music video, Fantasy, by the host, which is Mara Ken Ellis. And what I didn't realize until I started watching this is actually Code Red that released this. This kind of has even like their little Code Red number down here, but nowhere on this box does it say Code Red. I'm also not seeing a date when this DVD came out. So it looks like 1973 is The Barn of the Naked Dead, and then 1981 is Scream. There are Code Red trailers on this. Those are, I wrote them down here. So you get a film called The Hazing, which I do want to watch. That one looks interesting. There's The Hearse is the second one, and I love The Hearse. It's one of my all-time favorite horror movies. I absolutely love it. But I have it on this. They even have, that's the poster for The Hearse there. And this has, The Hearse. It's got Land of the Minotaur, The Creeping Terror, Bloodlust, Terrified, They Saved Hitler's Brain, Madman or Madmen of excuse me, Mandoris, which is the original version of They Saved Hitler's Brain, and then The Devil's Hand. This is Drive-In Cult Classics 8 movie collection. This is volume 2. So this is actually a really good collection. If you could find it, I've had this for a while. You should pick it up. It's got some really good stuff on it. Here it has a description of the movies. And then when you buy it, the films are like this, but it also comes with this booklet. So you want to make sure that you get the booklet that comes with it. So, but this is like I said, this is a really good collection, and it does have The Hearse. But I wouldn't mind owning The Hearse by itself. If Code Red has released it, then maybe I'll pick up a copy of that too. There's also The Babysitter. There's another trailer for Love Me Deadly. You also get The Black Gestapo, and then another one called Cutthroats 9, which, as I'm sure Tarantino has in his collection. This film looks amazing. It's a Western. It looks bloody as hell. It's one that I'm going to own. So I'm going to try to find the hazing, the hearse by itself. Black Gestapo, I think, is one that you can find, and Cutthroat's a 9. Other ones don't really interest me that much. It's weird. The Babysitter, I don't know the date on that one, but it looks like it's something that's made today, but shot in black and white. And then they just kind of make it look like it's in the 50s, but maybe it was shot in the 50s. And then Love Me Deadly is about, you know, having sex with dead bodies. So there you go. Can't go wrong with that. So I got my list here. And oh, and a couple of other things just with this in general. So this whole thing with Mara's B movie marathon, I hope I'm saying her first name correctly. It really just seems like a, I don't know, like a piece for her. It doesn't like the movies don't really matter. So in the on the menu, it says watch movies with like her introduction. So you click on it and it says movies, but you click on it and she only does this kind of Elvira or Vampira type intro to it, where she criticizes Scream. It's not movies, it's movie. And because she doesn't do anything for Barn of the Naked Dead. It would be nice if one of these women that kind of does this Elvira thing where they just criticize the movie, maybe actually be positive, actually, talk about how bad the film is, but in a good way. That this is it's so bad it's good type of thing, and maybe put like a different spin on it where you're still making fun of it, but it's in like a positive way. That would probably make me want to watch the movie a little bit more. And like I said, she doesn't do anything for Barn of the Naked Dead. So it's watch the movies with her, then you can watch the movies without her. And then that's when, if you click on that, you go into Scream. You just get the trailer. If you click on Barn of the Naked Dead, you get uh, the movie, commentary, and then the behind the scenes, which is, I think, I want to say like 20 minutes, where they do interview cast and crew. Um, and the two effects artists that they interview for the behind the scenes are the same two people that do the audio commentary, and these are old school guys. So they speak very differently in the audio commentary. It's interesting because they're older, uh, but it's, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could look it up, but you would think back here that they would put a date on this disc, and they don't. I just find that really weird. It's 186 minutes. So, um, but I got to tell you, this is a crazy movie. Oh, so the for those of you who didn't see the last video, Scream. So our host is a former WWE diva, WWE 2008 Diva of the Year, Playboy magazine cover model, April 2008, voted number 53 in the 100 sexiest women list by FHM magazine, and celebrity contestant on Celebrity Apprentice with Donald Trump, is back for more. And she's tackling a new deadly arena, hosting B movies. So I don't know if this is the only one that she did. I'm not entirely sure. But I got it for the movies on it. I didn't get it for the host. I normally don't even watch the host stuff, but because I'm reviewing this, I figured I would just watch everything. There is her music video for Fantasy, which looks like it was shot, like on in Hollywood, like on Hollywood Boulevard, probably at like 3 in the morning without permits. And it's in front of like kind of like a fantasy store, where like you would maybe buy leather and whips and stuff. And then it cuts to her singing at a microphone with like a fan blowing on her hair, so it's waving everywhere, and there's slow motion. And the song isn't bad. It's okay. It's all right. I watched the video twice, um, and it was okay, and it was all right. So you know, there's some okay stuff on this. Plus you got those trailers for the Code Red. I don't know if those are actual movies that Code Red is releasing. I know the Hearst is public domain, so maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I'd have to look into it. So with Barn of the Naked Dead or Terror Circus, it says a pervert, Andrew Prine, who I absolutely love. I mentioned this in the other video. That's him there. And he's actually there too. He is one of my favorite actors from like the 70s and the 80s. He's in one of my favorite horror films called The Evil. He is just he's one of those guys that to me just elevates a horror film, and or just a film in general that he's in. But he's not I wouldn't say that he's a pervert. He's nuts, but he doesn't do anything to the women sexually. Like there's nothing like he doesn't try to grope them, he doesn't try to have sex with them, he doesn't try to do any of that type of stuff. They're more animals, hence Terror Circus. And and it says on my list here, what's the title of the film? So Terror Circus or The Barn of the Naked Dead. How many stars would you give this? I would say I'm going to go 3 out of 5 circuses. But that doesn't mean that it's as good as other movies. It's as far as this movie goes, and would I watch it again? Yes, I would. So I would give it, for this type of movie, it gets 3 out of 5 circuses or terror circuses. Um, so it says here, a pervert, Andrew Prine, lives in the desert and thinks he is a ringmaster of a lost circus. He kidnaps girls and tortures them for his sick, perverted games. I just don't know if I'd use perverted. Um, can the legendary radio radio jazz DJ Chuck Niles stop him? Isn't that the guy's actual name? Yeah, that's his actual name. So legendary radio jazz DJ Chuck Niles doesn't, the character goes to stop him, but not the actual person. Or will the girls become the victims of Prime's nuclear monster dad? 2 violent chillers, a bloodbath that only Mara could host. With my luck, it's Maria. I'm probably saying her name totally wrong. So it's saying 2 violent chillers because they're including Scream in here. So basically, and we can go off of. So I got my phone, and okay, so let's get some history on this thing. So it says here, what type of film is it? Does it have a message? I guess if you're a woman in the 70s, you don't want to be taking back roads from like LA to, or just from California to Las Vegas. Just stick to the freeway and make sure that your car is in, good running condition. Because that's basically what he does is he's got this kind of platform that sits up, and he uses his binoculars, and he has a rifle, and he sees these people going by. And like if a car breaks down or whatever it is, he'll go out and try to rescue them. So with these three young ladies that are going out to Vegas. They're going to be part of a show. They're told by these two guys at a gas station, and to, oh, hey, your car, you're going to need some new parts here. Your car is going to break down. And they're like, oh yeah, sure it is. And they do recommend a like a shortcut, but they're not telling them to take the shortcut because they're part of this terror circus. They're just like, oh yeah, there's a shortcut. And the car breaks down. The girls spend the night, and Andrew Prine shows up, and he's like, hey, I'm just here to help, because he startles them. And he drives them back to his place, which is a farm. And then it's weird. There's weird editing, because he goes into the house to get something. The girls go to the barn because they think like, oh, it's a circus. And they see all these women chained to these posts. So they're like these square posts that are in the ground, in the dirt, and like kind of through the middle of the post towards the top are these thick chains that are wrapped through, and then they are locked together. And then it goes to the girls' necks, and it's wrapped around their necks, and there's a lock holding that on. And the girl's like, what? And Andrew Prine comes up and sees them like looking at the girls, and he's like, well, and it's weird is that cuts to them basically, yeah, it cuts to them just being chained. Like we don't see the fight. We don't see him uh like wrestle with them or drug them or do whatever it is. It just cuts to them being chained up, which one of the three girls is very tall and like taller than him. So you would think that these three girls, well, young women would be able to probably fight off Andrew Prine's character, who's not a muscle man. He's just like a regular guy, and get away. My guess is that the filmmaker's like, oh crap, how are we going to do this? Well, we're just going to cut to them being chained up and like kind of like waking up and like, huh, what? Now the effects guys on the audio commentary do mention that this is not a complete movie, that it's not as violent as they wanted to, that a lot of their effects are missing. So who knows, maybe something is missing in the movie. It is a 90-minute film with them having a fight or getting drugged. But it's also weird, these chains that are around these women's necks, and there's 8 of them maybe inside this barn. They're kind of like in a circle. um, I would think that they could just lift the chains right off their head, because they're not up against their neck like a collar. Some of them are like way down here, like almost like a necklace. And I would think that they could just pull it off their head and leave. But a couple of them, we do see them leaning forward, and the chain is here, and they can't get it up over like their chin. But if they relaxed and went back, it would fall here, and they could probably lift it up. And then I thought, okay, well, why don't they fight with their feet? Like why couldn't they do something if Andrew Prine comes up to them, like kick him away or something? And it's weird is he goes down, and it's like he's pretending to undo a lock that's not there, because some of the women can just get up and walk around as long as they still have the chain on their neck. Other women, when he's dealing with a problem person, they appear, or he needs to take one of them outside of the barn, they all of a sudden have this kind of invisible chain that's below the camera that he undoes. So it's almost like the film is like, well, crap, those. And maybe there was some deal with the women. I mean, I don't know. This is 1973, where they're not going to have the chains wrapped around their neck, where they are going to have to be loose. So in certain scenes, they pull forward so it's tighter. And So the director, maybe like who is Alan Rudolph, um, who came in, I guess, later from what I've read. He wasn't the first director, but he pretty much took over the film and finished the movie. So I'm guessing that at some point maybe they said, okay, it's too easy for them to get away, so we're going to pretend that there's chains, and and so they just kind of fake it, below the camera. Okay, now you're free. You know, uh, it's very kind of weird what they do. So this just says, Terror Circus, also released as The Barn of the Naked Dead and Nightmare Circus, is a 1973 American exploitation horror film directed by Alan Rudolph and starring Andrew Prine. It follows three showgirls who are kidnapped in the desert by a psychopath, that's better than pervert, who imprisons women in his barn near this is what got me. This is like, I gotta watch this. Near a former site of a nuclear disaster, because it's Nevada, so you got the whole desert of where that atomic bomb testing was, and there is like it said on the box, the the girls become victim to Prime's nuclear monster dad. So, and it is a nuclear monster dad. There is this creature that lives in this little shack, and he roams the desert, killing people, and he's in full makeup, hands, face, bloody. Uh, uh, I mean, it actually looks pretty good it's all practical, and for 1973, it looks really cool. Um, and you don't see him at first, and then you see a little bit more, like you see a shadow, or you hear the noise of him moving around, and then you see him at the end of the movie is where you get the full thing of him. So it's pretty cool, actually. Um, so the film is, around 86 minutes. Came out on Halloween, October 31st, 1973. Doesn't say a budget or how much the film made. So here it says the film's director and writer is credited as Gerald, it's like Co-Omar, Co-Omar. I don't know. The name of a stuntman and head of the film's distribution, CMC Pictures. Some sources indicate that Koromer's name was a pseudonym for Rudolph. According to actor Prine, however, Cromer himself was one of two other directors hired to shoot the film before Rudolph took over directorial duties. So, and then down under production, it says principal photography for Terror Circus took place in Palmdale, California. The film was largely directed by Alan Rudolph, a protege of Robert Altman, which is funny. This is Alan Rudolph's directorial debut. What's funny about that is I'm also not a fan of Robert Altman. I love The Player. I thought Shortcuts was okay. Um, MASH, old school Robert Altman is good, but he is incredibly hit and miss with me. And Alan Rudolph, who did like Trouble in Mind, is the same way. I don't think I have a handful of either one of those films, either director's films that I like. But I did find it interesting reading this, that Alan Rudolph was a protege of Robert Altman. It says, however, the film's credits list Gerald Cromer as director, which it doesn't. It actually does say Alan Rudolph, so I don't know. With some sources alleging that Cromer was a pseudonym Rudolph used. According to actor Andrew Pride, however, Gerald Cromer was the head of the film's distributor, CMC Pictures Corporation, was one of two directors hired to make the film before Rudolph took over. According to the American Film Institute, the film's credited writer, Ralph Harold, may also have been a pseudonym for Rudolph. It says in 2009 is looks like when this came out. 2009, 2010. In 2009, a documentary short included on the Code Red DVD and subsequent Blu-ray releases of the film. Producer Marvin Almisses and others involved in the making of the film recount that Gerald Cromer was in fact the film's original director, and that Rudolph was an assistant on the production who ultimately took over as director. Cromer appears in the film portraying Andrew, who's Andrew Prine, deformed father. So the original director is actually the nuclear dad to Andrew Prine's character, which I think was pretty cool. So, and then when it was released, the film screened under the title Terror Circus. It later screened in Texas under the alternate title The Barn of the Naked Dead in 1975 on a double bill with The Flesh and Blood Show, which was made in 72. DVD verdict says it's just dull and dumb. I do not agree with that. Let's see, they in the book Cult Horror Films, let's see, criticized the film as phony feminism. As he is Welch Everman, as he felt it was added as a way to allow viewers to enjoy the movie's violence against its female protagonists and not feel guilty afterwards. AllMovie gave the film a negative review. Brad Sykes, who I used to be friends with, Brad Sykes notes that the circus compound in the film, so he gives a good review for the sets. Looks like this came out on Shriek Show and Code Red. So 2009, 2011. Code Red did do a Blu-ray. Then Code Red reissued the film on Blu-ray in conjunction with Kino Lorber in 2022. So let's kind of go over this. So, what did I expect from the film? Something crazy from the 70s. I actually thought to be bored with the movie. Really bored. So I actually avoided it for a couple of days, and I ended up really liking it. I don't know how many times I would rewatch it, but I did like it. One of the things that I liked about it, and if this is Alan Rudolph who directed the whole movie, I think that he did do an excellent job with the directing. If any of you out there have seen or go watch the movie that I made, Meat Hook Massacre 4, it's all shot out in Pahrump and Las Vegas in the desert. And the desert has a certain feel about it. You kind of film it in a certain way because it's the desert. And that's how this was shot. So, excuse me. So while I was watching The Barn of the Naked Dead, because I do like that title better than Terror Circus. I actually like Terror Circus too. It's not bad. Nightmare Circus is kind of boring. But I could see a lot of if I remade this movie today, I would probably shoot it in the same way that I shot Meat Hook 4, with the way that Alan Rudolph shot The Desert, and where The Desert is almost its own character. So, as far as like the directing goes, the editing goes, even though it is a little choppy with the effects, um, like the lighting, the cinematography, I thought all of that was excellent. I thought it all looked really good. Um, at no point did I think that this was just some cheap ass B movie where it was shot in the dark. No, it's there are scenes at night, but it's mostly during the day, which I love. I love horror films that take place during the day, and it's interesting to see, since the film is 1973, that they don't have these computers, they don't have cell phones, there is no internet, there's everything is done through walkie talkies or payphones, or uh, uh, at one point that somebody's in a hotel room, and well, probably a motel room, and they just they got to use the phone in the room to do updates. So the idea is that like I said, these three girls, they go out to Vegas because they're part of this show. The car breaks down. Andrew Prine kidnaps them and puts them in this group of chained up women. And to him, the women are animals. So they are there to perform his tricks. So he uses a whip and to make them do certain tricks. He feeds them a little bit. He gives them some water, uh, and he kind of watches them through like these holes in walls. Uh, Two of the women are pretty much insane. I think one is just laughing hysterically, and the other one is kind of catatonic. I don't think she has Stockholm syndrome, but she's just kind of catatonic. And then Andrew Prine's character finds a picture of the lead girl. She's the taller one. She looks like she could be like 6 foot tall, and he looks at a picture, and that looks like his mother. So he takes her and brings her back, dresses her up in his clothes. So there's a little bit of Psycho in there too, and gives her a tour of the place, which means that we get to see the place, which was a good idea. So while all this is going on, you have the girl's manager, who's back in California, talking with the guy who's basically funding this whole thing, saying, we can't find the girls, they disappeared, they somewhere between here and there, they went missing, we don't know where they are. And the guy that's funding this is like, better find them, or it's your head. And so the manager does his trip, and he ends up in some cafes and hotels. He meets up with some police who help him out, especially this one sheriff who they team up together to go find them. And it's just interesting seeing how stuff is just like written down on paper. It's not done on like a cell phone or a pad. It's more people talking. Oh yeah, I think I saw them over here, and then they go investigate over there. The sheriff and the manager, zoom up and down the highways, and you're trying to find her. And then the sheriff's like, well, I do know there's a couple roads, like side roads that you could take that, so they go check those. And that's when they find the girl's car. And they meet up with a couple other cops, and they end up going to this barn. And then we'll get to what happens at the barn. So I've just went over what happens in the film. So does the plot make sense? To a degree, sure. Is it easy to follow? Oh, definitely. Is it believable? To a degree. The atomic bomb testing in Nevada did affect a lot of people. They didn't turn them into nuclear monsters, but John Wayne was making a film called The Conqueror out there, and they said, oh yeah, the radiation levels are fine. All the people who made that movie, including John Wayne, died of cancer. So, and of course, that's the whole idea with like The Hills Have Eyes, and there's some other movies, that take place with the radiation still out there. And so that's the idea with the dad, is somehow the dad got affected and Andrew Prine goes insane. The mom leaves. I think she just leaves and just doesn't come back. And that's when his character thinks that this one woman, the taller woman, is his mom, because she's now come back. The nuclear dad, the mutated dad, is going around killing people. So he's out there basically just killing people and eating them. So there's even cannibalism in this, which is nice. So that's what happens in the film. Uh, like I said, to a degree, the plot does make sense in the mind of Andrew Prine's character. Like, what is his name? Instead of just saying Andrew Prine's character all the time. Andre. So, in Andrew's mind, it makes sense. I even think in all the women that are there, it makes crazy sense, because it's nothing that's totally outlandish. It's, we're trapped in this barn, we're here chained up like animals, and he's psychotic and he thinks this is a circus, and we're going to be lions and tigers and giraffes and all that type of stuff. If one of the girls, it happens a couple of times, if they get out of line, he does take them out and he puts blood on them. And he has a cougar that's in a cage. And he lets the cougar out to attack this girl, except the cougar doesn't get her. She sees the little like shack thing that the nuclear dad is in, and she opens the door and the dad just immediately grabs her and pulls her in and kills her. I think that's our first experience with the dad, and I knew it was going to be awesome. I love 70s movies that are crazy. Like, they didn't even have to add in the nuclear dad. It could have just been, Andre being crazy and kidnapping these women and making them be in a circus, like a human circus, and leave it at that. No, they had to throw in the nuclear dad, which to me was brilliant, just absolutely brilliant. So now we have okay, so who are the main characters? So we already talked about them. What are they like? Who are the actors playing these parts, and are they good in the parts? I would say everybody is good in the parts, especially Andrew Prine. The other people I don't know. I did bring up the DJ, but nobody else in this. In the audio commentary, the two effects artists do mention that I think either all three women or two of them are related to other Hollywood people, like old school Hollywood people. But I don't, like, one of them is Roland, and it could be Jill Roland. So I'm not sure exactly who she's supposed to be related to, but they did say that yes, some of these women are related to Hollywood, kind of like royalty. So they would probably have to be like the 50s or 60s for like the parents. But I thought all of the people did a good job, especially in the 70s. There is a quality of acting in the 70s that I think is really good. What is the camera work like? The camera work I thought was very good. Like I said, while watching it, it's what I would do. It's I'm looking at these shots going, I would have done that. I would have done that. Maybe a little different here, but I would have done that. So it was something that I could identify with as a filmmaker, that there aren't these like over the head kind of crazy shots or these Dutch angles or whatever. There's these straightforward shots and you could probably see where, like in the barn, if there was an over the head shot, they're most likely probably shooting up in the areas where you would like put the hay. um it's so there aren't crazy shots, which is nice. um are the special effects good? What are they like? Yeah, the effects are good. I like the effects. The effects were good, especially with like Nuclear Dad. um some of the girls get killed. uh I'm not going to get total spoilers into this, but let's just say only two of the girls survive. It's a very nihilist movie, and I don't think they could do a sequel if they wanted to back then. You would just have to remake the movie now, I guess. So she likes what are they? Are there beautiful scenes? Are there moments that the cameras use in interesting ways? I don't know if I would say beautiful scenes, but I would say that the scenes work. They look nice. Especially the desert stuff looks great. So it's it's shot on. It looks like it's shot on. Well, it has to be shot on film because it's 73, but it looks a little kind of saturated. And I'm guessing because of the bright sun and what's around it, they probably brought it down a little bit, but it looks very nice. Did you enjoy the film? Yeah, quite a bit, actually. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Are there good and bad points? Yeah, good points would be Andrew Prine, the nuclear dad. Are there bad points? Yeah, stuff like the invisible chain, uh, how some of the chains are way down here. I think that there were many times that the women could have escaped, and they just didn't. Um, Andre doesn't sleep in the barn; he sleeps at a house. So 3 in the morning, they probably could have gotten out. I probably very simply. Um, what scene in particular did you enjoy or remember? Why was it good? I would say, without giving too much away, the ending with the nuclear dad. I was so hoping that we would have something with the nuclear dad, and we do. We we get we get a rampage, and I loved every moment of that. So that to me would be my favorite scene. Um, it's yeah, like I said, there's not enough people left to make a sequel. What scene did you like? What scene did you particularly not enjoy? Why was it bad? No, nothing that comes to mind. Would you recommend this film? And what type of people would you recommend it to? I do recommend this movie. In fact, if you can find this, watch, this DVD, watch both. I enjoyed Scream. It's not great, but I enjoyed it. And there's a nice little history behind it. There's a few channels, YouTube channels out there that have done reviews or in-depth reviews. Good Bad Flicks is one that just did a big thing on Scream. Well, actually, I don't know if they just did it, but they do have a video that talks about it. It's probably like a 10 or 15-minute video. But I would pick this up. I mean, I guess because you get it, I guess watch the stuff with her, but it doesn't really matter. Like I said, I think this is just like a resume type of thing. It just seems to be more of a vanity piece for her. So, because she's not very interesting. Even when she's making fun of Scream, it's not funny. And Bill Olsen is the one who directs all of her stuff. He runs, um, or I think he might be. I think he died. I don't know enough about Code Red, but I think he passed away. Um, but he was at least the owner of Code Red, and his stuff was what she was doing was not very good. She's hot, but that's about it. So, who would you recommend this to? Horror people, especially really obscure horror people. People who like these types of movies, not just your random person that goes to the theater. But I would definitely recommend it to somebody like me who likes these, who doesn't like really crap independent, um, B movies or independent films, but you actually like films that are shot, let's say in like the 70s or the 80s, that they really put out an effort. And I think both of these films, they did put out an effort, especially uh, The Barn of the Naked Dead. Scream had its limitations, but I would say that, yeah, that if you like good films from like the 70s and 80s that are very low budget but are well done, check out this DVD or those films. Are there any other films you can compare it to? Uh, Scream is a slasher, so pretty much any slasher movies. Barn of the Naked Dead, I have no idea what to compare this to except just weird ass acid shit, from the 70s. I don't even know what to compare this to. At first, I thought maybe it was a zombie movie, but it has nothing to do with zombies. Uh, I can't compare it to anything. It's kind of its own thing. Yeah, I can't compare it to anything. You just have to experience it for yourself. Maybe check out the trailer on YouTube or something. Uh, is there anything else? Yeah, for Andrew Prine, I don't think I looked him up. So actually, he died not too long ago. Wow, he died on Halloween, 2022. In 1957, well, active years were 1957 to 2015. Man, I would have loved to have worked with him. Uh, Prine received the Golden Boot Award for his body of work in westerns in 2001, and two Dramalog Critics Awards for Best Actor in a Leading Role. Um, what's this? The Karen Cupsinet investigation from 1962 to her death in 19 I'm sorry, to her death in November 28, 1963. Prine dated the actress. The relationship was problematic. uh, Krupp Sinek was abusing diet pills along with her prescription drugs. um, the problems with Krupsinek's relationship with Prime was mainly due to Prime's objections to making the relationship exclusive. After Krupsinek underwent an illegal abortion in July of 63, the relationship cooled and Prime began dating other women. In turn, Krupsinek began spying on Prime and his new girlfriend. Oh wow. Okay, so let's go down to what in 1988, Corrupt's Kupsinet's father published a memoir in which he revealed that he and his wife believed that Andrew Prine had nothing to do with their daughter's murder. He was suspicious of a person still alive when he wrote his memoir and had no connection to Prine. Let's see, the dad said David Lang, a neighbor of his daughter, who had twice confessed to friends that he was guilty. Later, when questioned, Lang suggested he was kidding. However, when a girlfriend who was with Lang in his upper apartment told him about the police activity at his friend Karen's apartment, his reaction was adamant, and he told her to close the drapes and keep quiet. She thought his demeanor was strange because Lang often had been in Karen's apartment. Oh, wow. Prine died of natural causes on vacation in France on Halloween 2022 at the age of 86. So he started making films in 59. Oh, he was in the Miracle Worker, 1962. Devil's Brigade, 1968. Uh, Chisholm, that's a Western, 1970. Oh, that's right. Simon, King of the Witches, 1971. I remember that one. Crypt of the Living Dead, 1973. The Wonder Woman TV movie from 1974. Rooster Cogburn, he was uncredited. That's John Wayne. That's right. The movie Grizzly. He was in Grizzly. And The Town That Dreaded Sundown, 1976. The Evil, 1978. Amityville 2, The Possession. He played a priest. He played Father Tom. The Eliminators, which would be Charles Band, that'd be Empire Pictures. Movie called Chill Factor in 1989. Gettysburg, the miniseries Gettysburg, 1993. Without Evidence, 1995. The Shadow Man, he was Man in Black #1. The Boy with the X-Ray Eyes, 1999. Witch House 2, Blood Coven. Oh, shit. Critical Mass, 2001. Sweet Home Alabama. Is that the Reese Witherspoon movie? Yeah, it is. He was in a Reese Witherspoon movie. He played the sheriff. He's uncredited. Gods and Generals, which is another TV movie. He was uncredited. Why does he keep getting uncredited? The Dukes of Hazzard, 2005, Angry Man. Treasure of the Black Jaguar, 2010, as Andrew Prime. He was in a Rob Zombie movie. Yeah, Lords of Salem, 2012. He played a Reverend Jonathan Hawthorne. And then Beyond the Furthest Star, 2015. Television, he was acting since 1957. Peter Gunn, Playhouse 90. Have Gun Will Travel, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Defenders, Ben Casey, Gunsmoke, Wagon Train, Combat, Bonanza, Dr. Kilgare, The Fugitive, Tarzan, The Invaders, man, Ironside, Love American Style, The Courtship of Eddie's Father, The FBI, Kung Fu, Barnaby Jones, Cannon, Kolchak the Night Stalker is in one episode, Demon Lace, 1975. Barbary Coast, Hawaii 5-0, Beretta, Quincy M.E., The Bionic Woman, my God. Donner Pass, The Road to Survival, I'll watch that. One Day at a Time, Dark Room, I remember that, one episode, undated. So it's like 81, 82. Heart to Heart, The Fall Guy, the original series, Trapper John MD, The Final Battle, Matt Houston, Danger Bay, Dallas, Freddy's Nightmares. He was on Freddy's Nightmares, 2 episodes. In the Heat of the Night, Murder, She Wrote, Parker Lewis Can't Lose, Matlock, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, Star Trek The Next Generation. I did not know that. 1 episode, 1993. Married with Children, the TV show for Weird Science, unknown number of episodes. Star Trek Deep Space Nine. This is amazing. Baywatch Nights, Melrose Place, Walker, Texas Rangers, Silk Stockings, Jag, 6 Feet Under, James Dean, which I think is James Franco. Yep, James Franco's in that. 6 Feet Under, CSI, Boston Legal, Saving Grace, 2008. Man, I learned something new today. So, all right, so that's it. So I want you guys to see Barn of the Naked Dead. It's There is some nudity, not a lot. It's just one scene of like the women like cleaning themselves in the barn. So I guess, it's the 70s, so we have to have some nudity. So maybe that would get cut out of if you could find it on YouTube. But look for it. Look for both the Scream. I think that was 81 and Barn of the Naked Dead. I enjoyed them both, especially Barn. And you'll see what I mean. I can't give too much away about the ending because the ending is pretty amazing, um, and funny. You could do a sequel technically if you did it in a different location. I love the ending. Like I said, it's very nihilistic, and I I I laughed at the ending. I even went back and listened to the audio commentary to see if I could get any more information on the ending. So I really liked it. I enjoyed both films, and I'm glad that I got to review both of them for this. The Elvira wannabe, whatever. I mean, she's hot, but who cares? It's the movies that matter to me. It's probably her resume that matters to her. So somebody thought that she was hot and said, "Hey, you want to host this stuff?" And she's like, "Sure. How much do I get paid?" Um, well, we'll throw on some videos and stuff of you. Oh, okay. So yeah, so that's about it. So all right, thanks everybody. I really do appreciate it. I will see you on the next one, which is an interesting one. So it goes a little back to the Hollywood stuff that I was doing, but it's an interesting film to talk about. So okay, until then, I will see you later. All right, bye.